In the year 235 AD, a Roman denarius contained 50% pure silver. By 268 AD, just 33 years later, it was down to 5% silver. By the year 300, Roman coins were basically worthless bronze with a thin silver coating that rubbed off in your hand. Rome didn't fall to barbarians. Rome committed financial suicide. And here's what nobody tells you. America just crossed the same threshold Rome did right before their collapse, and I can prove it. By the end of this video, you're going to see the exact pattern. The same decisions, the same timeline, the same breaking point. And once you see it, you'll understand why the next 20 years are going to be nothing like the last 20. Stay with me. So let me tell you a story. It's the year 200 AD. Rome is at its absolute peak. They control 60 million people across 3 continents. Their military has never lost a major war. The Roman denarius is the global reserve currency. Every merchant from Britain to India accepts it. Why? Because it's real money, real silver. You can trust it. But here's what most people don't understand about empires. The thing that makes them powerful is the exact same thing that destroys them. Rome's power came from their military. 30 legions stationed across thousands of miles of frontier, 150,000 professional soldiers, plus auxiliaries, the most advanced fighting force in human history. And that military was expensive, incredibly expensive. Each legionary cost the empire about 900 denarii per year in salary alone. That's just wages. Add in equipment, food, training, fortifications, and you're looking at the equivalent of 60% of Rome's entire tax revenue going to the military. 60%. Just to maintain the status quo. For a while, Rome could afford it. They had gold mines in Spain, silver mines in Greece. They taxed Egypt's grain. They extracted tribute from conquered territories. The money flowed in, and the empire expanded. Everything worked. But then the expansion stopped. By 200 AD, Rome had conquered everyone worth conquering. There were no more rich civilizations to loot, no more gold to seize. The empire hit its geographical limits. And when an empire stops expanding, something terrifying happens. The economics flip. See, empires don't run on trade. They run on extraction. You conquer a place, you take their wealth, you use that wealth to pay your army. Your army conquers more places. It's a cycle. But when you run out of places to conquer, you still have the army. You still have the costs, but now you don't have new revenue. You're stuck. Rome faced a choice. Option 1, cut the military, downsize the legions, pull back the borders, accept that the empire is going to shrink. That's the responsible choice, the smart choice. But here's the problem. The moment you cut the military, the barbarians invade. Germanic tribes, Persians, everyone who's been waiting for Rome to show weakness. So cutting the military isn't really an option. It's suicide. Option 2, raise taxes, make the citizens pay more. But Rome was already taxing heavily. Egyptian grain farmers were giving up 30% of their harvest. Spanish miners were practically slaves. Push too hard and you get revolts. And revolts are expensive to crush. So that's not really an option either. Option 3, debase the currency. This is the clever option. The option that lets you avoid hard choices. You take your silver coins, melt them down, mix in cheap copper, stamp out twice as many coins. Suddenly, you have more money to pay the soldiers. Problem solved, right? Rome chose option 3. In 215 AD, Emperor Caracalla reduced the silver content of the denarius from 50% to 40%. He needed to pay for a war, and this was easier than raising taxes. A few years later, his successor dropped it to 30%, then 20%, then 10%. By the time you get to the 260s, Roman coins were basically copper tokens with a silver wash. And here's what happened. At first, nobody really noticed. A coin is a coin, right? Soldiers got paid the same number of denarii. But merchants aren't stupid. They figured out the coins were lighter, the silver content was lower, so they raised prices. If you're getting paid in fake money, you charge more for your goods. That's just basic economics. Inflation exploded. In the year 200, a pound of gold cost 50,000 denarii. By the year 300, it cost 2 billion denarii. Prices increased 40,000 times in 1 century. Imagine that. Imagine everything you buy today costing 40,000 times more in the year 2100. That's not inflation. That's currency collapse. But here's where it gets really dark. The soldiers, the ones who were supposed to protect the empire, they were getting destroyed by this. They were still earning the same salary, but their money was worthless. A legionary's annual wage used to be enough to support his family comfortably. Now it couldn't buy a week's worth of bread. So what did they do? They stopped caring. They stopped fighting. Some deserted, some mutinied and declared their own generals as emperor. Between 235 and 284 AD, Rome had 50 different emperors in 49 years. Most were murdered by their own soldiers. The empire fractured into pieces. Germanic tribes walked across undefended borders. The economy collapsed. Trade stopped. Cities emptied out. By 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire didn't exist anymore. No epic final battle. No dramatic last stand. It just slowly fell apart, province by province, as the currency collapsed and the military disintegrated. Now here's what makes this terrifying. Let me show you what's happening in America right now. In 1913, the US dollar was backed by gold. If you had a $20 bill, you could walk into a bank and exchange it for 1 ounce of gold. Real money, real value. Just like the Roman denarius in 200 AD. In 1971, Nixon ended the gold standard. From that point on, the dollar wasn't backed by anything except trust. The US could print as many dollars as they wanted. No limit. Sound familiar? Since 1971, the US has increased the money supply by 2,000%. 2,000%. In Rome, when they debased the currency, it took 100 years for prices to increase 40,000 times. In America, we've already seen the dollar lose 98% of its value in just 50 years. We're moving faster than Rome did. And just like Rome, America has the same problem. Massive military spending that they can't afford to cut. The US military budget is $877 billion per year. That's more than the next 10 countries combined. America has 750 military bases in 80 countries. They're defending the entire Western world. And just like Rome, they can't stop. The moment they pull back, China expands, Russia expands, the whole global order collapses. But here's where it gets worse. America also has Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, promises made to 70 million retirees. Those programs cost $2.5 trillion per year. And they're going to cost more every year as more people retire. Rome had to pay their soldiers. America has to pay their soldiers and their retirees. So what's America doing? The exact same thing Rome did. They're printing money. $5 trillion printed during COVID, another $2 trillion for infrastructure. Trillions more for student loans, bank bailouts, corporate subsidies. The government is spending $2 trillion more per year than they collect in taxes. They're covering the gap by creating new money. And just like Rome, inflation is starting to explode. In 2020, inflation was 1.4%. In 2022, it hit 9%. Your rent went up. Your groceries went up. Gas went up. Everything went up. That's not corporate greed. That's your dollars being worth less. But here's the part that should terrify you. We're still early in this cycle. Rome debased their currency for 100 years before it completely collapsed. America has only been off the gold standard for 50 years. We're halfway through. And it's accelerating. The US debt is $35 trillion. Interest payments alone are over $1 trillion per year now. That's more than the defense budget. America's borrowing money just to pay interest on old debt. That's the same debt spiral Rome entered in the 3rd century. And once you're in that spiral, there's no way out except printing more money or defaulting. Both options destroy the currency. And here's what nobody's talking about. The US dollar is the global reserve currency, just like the Roman denarius was. Everyone uses dollars for international trade. Oil is priced in dollars. Countries hold dollars as reserves. The entire global financial system runs on dollars. When Rome's currency collapsed, only the Roman Empire fell. When the dollar collapses, the entire world economy collapses with it. We're talking about a financial earthquake that makes 2008 look like a minor tremor. Retirement accounts wiped out, savings destroyed, international trade grinding to a halt. China sees this. They're buying gold, lots of it. Russia's buying gold. India's buying gold. They're preparing for the day the dollar isn't the reserve currency anymore. They watched what happened to Rome, and they're watching America repeat the same pattern. So what does this mean for you? Honestly, if you're holding cash, you're losing. Your dollars are losing value every single day. If you're planning to retire on Social Security, you need to understand that the money might be there, but it won't buy what you think it will. The checks will arrive, but bread might cost $50 a loaf. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this because history is screaming at us and nobody's listening. Rome had smart people. They had economists, advisors, senators who saw this coming, but they couldn't stop it. Because stopping it required making hard choices that nobody wanted to make. Cutting spending, shrinking the empire, accepting decline. No politician wants to be the one who admits the empire is over. America's in the same trap. No politician is going to stand up and say, we need to cut the military by 50% and slash entitlements. They'd be voted out immediately, so instead they'll keep printing, keep spending, keep pretending everything's fine, until one day it's not. The collapse won't happen overnight. It'll be gradual. Inflation will keep rising. Your savings will keep losing value. The dollar will weaken. Other countries will slowly stop using it. And one day, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 20, you'll wake up and realize the America you knew doesn't exist anymore. Just like Romans woke up one day and realized their empire was gone. If you made it this far, you're one of the few people who actually wants to understand how the system works. So do me a favor, subscribe. Because I'm breaking down the financial patterns they don't teach in schools, the stuff that actually matters. Hit that like button if this changed how you see the economy. And drop a comment. Tell me, do you think America can avoid Rome's fate, or are we too far gone? I want to know what you think, because here's the truth. The more people who understand this, the harder it is for them to pretend everything's fine. Knowledge is power, and right now, you have knowledge most people don't. I'll see you in the next one. And trust me, this rabbit hole goes a lot deeper.